But they're about to get underway in Germany. Paris Saint-Germain need to put on a special show in Munich tonight, otherwise it could get messy. Bayern Munich 1-0 up from that first leg in France. PSG with a Bavarian mountain to climb. Your commentary team on Talksport, the former Champions League semi-finalist Danny Mills, alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening to you for the second leg of a tie, whose billing needs no exaggeration. When the season started and a list of potential winners of this trophy was drawn up, it might have only contained 5 or 6 names that were universally regarded as realistic. But these are 2 of them. Tonight, either the French or German champions will lead the competition, and despite the standard of their opponent, that exit and inability to reach the last 4, let alone the last 8, will be seen as a high-profile failure. To that extent, there's talk that Christophe Gautier's future as PSG coach could be called into question if they're eliminated. Reports that higher profile names have been sounded out. An 8-point lead at the top of the league, not offering a stay of execution if they don't get close to the Holy Grail. Their one real near miss came in 2020. PSG beaten by Bayern and Kingsley Coman's goal. The irony of a Parisian denying them, lost on nobody. Still they wait, and patience wears thinner every year. And Coman is again piled on the pressure with a first leg goal in his hometown that has tipped the balance of power Bayern's way. PSG now need to do what no visiting side has managed in the last 14 months and win at the Allianz. And when your forward line has scored 5 goals between them in the most recent World Cup final, there's no doubt the Arsenal is there. But can they shake off this frustrating susceptibility to the biggest names in the biggest games that has hampered them in the past? Bayern line up, Jan Sommer in goal. Neuer still out because of that broken leg sustained in a post-World Cup skiing accident. Stanisic, Upamecano, De Ligt and Davis are back 4. Not necessarily a balanced back 4 in terms of the fact that Davis will be given much more licence to push forward. Goretzka and Kimmich, then Coman, Müller and Musiala, and Choupo-Moting up front. PSG, Donnarumma in goal, Danilo Pereira, Sergio Ramos and Marquinhos. Midfield 5 of Hakimi, Vitinha, Verratti, Fabian Ruiz and Nuno Mendes, and Messi and Mbappe are the front 2. Benches for Bayern: Gnabry, Sane, Vanna, Mane, Sarr, Cancelo, Blind, Gravenberg, Till, Mazraoui, Ibrahimovic and Ulreich. For PSG, Bernat, Renato Sanchez, Mukiele, Soler, Pembele, Bichiabu, Zaire Emery, Gabi, Ekitike, and the keepers Rico and Letellier. Referee tonight, the Italian, Daniele Orsato. PSG will get the game underway. They're in all white, and they're kicking from left to right against Bayern in all red. And the last time that Bayern Munich and PSG met in the Champions League, the Parisians progressed despite a 1-0 home defeat. There's no away goals rule to aid their cause this time. But can history repeat itself? Or will PSG's quest to be crowned kings of Europe fail yet again? We are underway. Ball play forward by Donnarumma, and I'm delighted to say alongside with the former Champions League semi-finalist and former England World Cup defender Danny Mills.
Evening, Jim. Looking forward to this. There's a slight haze across the pitch, isn't it? So much for flares not being allowed into ground and smoke bombs in this day and age. I mean, it should be a really exciting game because the forward line that PSG have, they've got to come out and attack. You know, they've got to score at least 2 goals to go through, and I think that's why this game is so finely poised.
Well, Adrian mentioned the fact that Celtic are losing by a goal to 0. Rangers are also losing by a goal to 0. The 2 Edinburgh sides on top at the moment. Hearts 1 up at Celtic. Hibs lead Rangers by a goal to 0. Now we're underway in this game. Spurs against AC Milan. A delayed kickoff, but we will bring you news from Adrian Durham and Kevin Hatchard as soon as anything of any consequence happens at Tottenham tonight as they try and overturn a 1-0 deficit from the away leg against Milan. Donnarumma's got the ball. The bearded Parisian goalkeeper, already a winner of 50 international caps at the age of just 24. Played through the penalty area and back for Donnarumma again, who will now work it out towards the left-hand side. Bayern with half a press, just inviting PSG forward, And now they will be able to play through and counter-attack with pace. Mbappe on the left-hand side of the penalty area, driving it in, too far ahead of Messi, and he couldn't get it to Hakimi, and the goalkeeper was able to make the save, Jan Sommer. But that is PSG's game plan down to a T.
The only problem for them playing on the counter-attack with the pace of Mbappe, no one can catch up with him. It's not Lionel Messi's game, is it? He's not going to be breaking forward in that. You just saw Hakimi trying to get up there and do the best that he possibly could. But when Mbappe breaks with such pace, if that's going to be in one of the wide areas, it gives Bayern Munich an opportunity to get back, because if he's in that wide area, very unlikely to beat 2 or 3. I don't know what you've seen him do before, but unlikely to beat 2 or 3, cut in and score himself.
As Stanisic finds Upamecano down towards De Ligt. Just drags the ball inside. Now played down towards Musiala. Davis in this ultra-high advanced position from left back, and he's done well. Good little trick. Beats Hakimi. Fired inside the penalty area. Bounces once on the edge of the D. Stanisic will come forward onto it for Bayern. He's worked it out towards the right. Coman's going to be able to deliver. High cross, a little bit too high, although Davis can cushion it down. Musiala bringing it forward. Little cushion layoff from him, from Choupo-Moting back into his path. And PSG delighted to be able to hammer it away and out of play for a throw.
Bayern Munich already looking very composed, very controlled. Whatever happens in this game, they will not panic. They will just keep playing the same way. The first goal, I think, is going to be absolutely vital. Bayern Munich nicked the first goal. I think Paris are going to be in some serious trouble.
Such a good, impressive, unbeaten run at home. 24 games that goes back to January the 7th of last year. And that's what PSG are up against. That's what they're fighting against this evening. They're going to have to be the one that breaks that if they're going to stand any chance of progressing in this competition. The Rangers have already equalised at Easter Road against Hibs. Hibs 1, Rangers 1. It was a Conor Goldson own goal. James Tavernier penalty that tied things up pretty much straight away for Rangers in that game. And Livingston lead Dundee United by a goal to nil in the other game in the Scottish Premiership tonight. So Celtic 0, Hearts 1, Hibs 1, Rangers 1, and Livingston 1, Dundee United 0. 4 gone in the game we're concentrating on with commentary tonight at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich against PSG, 0-0 on the night, and 1-0 on aggregate, with De Ligt in possession. And they'll just play it forward over halfway for Eric Choupo-Moting. He's retreated, just given a little shove, and the free kick has gone Bayern's way.
Well, we know he can do it on a cold, wet, windy night in Stoke. Can he do it on a cold, wet, windy night in Bayern Munich?
Well, a few Stoke fans would say that he couldn't do it on a cold, wet,
that's true,
windy night in Stoke, but he certainly has been able to do it for Bayern Munich. His numbers have been so impressive. They weren't, when he played for PSG, got 9 goals in 51 games for them, but 15 in his last 18 games. Messi plays the ball forward, didn't get too far, and Bayern are able to win it back, and they should be able to get it clear again. Half-time in one of the games in the WSL tonight. Let's get the details from Charlotte Richardson.
Half-time, it's Arsenal 2, Liverpool 0. Arsenal's front three have been so hard to contain, and 2 are already on the score sheet. Stina Blackstenius with a shot opened the scoring, and that was followed up by Caitlin Ford, whose header from close range doubled the Gunners' lead. At the break, it's Arsenal 2, Liverpool 0.
2-0 in Arsenal's favour there. 6 minutes gone in this one. Bayern Munich 0, PSG 0. You listen to the Champions League live on Talksport with Till, the card payment provider from NatWest. Teams in the tunnel at Tottenham for a game that has been delayed by 10 minutes because both team coaches are a little bit late in arriving at the ground. Ball out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the PSG left-hand side. So much history between these two teams in terms of the Champions League. Bayern beating PSG in the final in 2020. PSG ending their trophy defence in the quarterfinals in the following season, winning on away goals after a 3-2 first leg win in Bavaria. It's another 1-0 loss in the home leg in Paris to make it through. Choupo-Moting, the man that scored the winning goal on that occasion. Vitinha laying it back for Danilo Pereira. And worked forward through the midfield by Fabian Ruiz. before free kick is given away by Choupo-Moting, and PSG have the opportunity to get a few bodies forward. It's about 10-15 yards inside their own half. 7 gone, 0-0.
Bayern have that similar sort of pedigree, I say similar, to Real Madrid, don't they? You just feel that they're never quite out of it. You know, even if the score was the other way around, or even if it was 2-0, they were 2-0 down, you'd still think they can find a way back into this. They'll have a little bit of belief in that. So many times they've been there, seen it, done it, you know, always managed to get to the latter stages. Again, whether that's part of the German mentality, it's always when you go into a competition, the Euros, the World Cup, even if you're having a bad time of it, you go, never write the Germans off, because they've been there so many times, and I think, you know, Bayern epitomise that.
Kylian Mbappe with an injection of pace, getting to the byline, his touch was heavy, rolled over the line, and then he sort of leant into Upamecano to try and buy a free kick. But his international teammate, who started the World Cup final alongside Mbappe, wasn't having any of it, and the referee saw it for what it was, and play restarts with a Bayern Munich goal kick taken by Sommer, but worked short. PSG win it back on halfway, but they haven't got it back for long. Goretzka stretching out a long leg, able to divert the ball to his left-hand side for the impressive Musiala, who will break forward towards the edge of the penalty area, but enough for white shirts back. And they got the ball clear out to the left-hand touchline, where it's picked up again by Davis. Alphonso Davis, the Ghanaian-born Canadian international, part of the side that won this competition with Bayern in 2020. The lick for Upamecano. Stanisic working it out to the right flank for Kingsley Coman. Just a little injection of pace from Coman, dropped his shoulder, went down the right-hand touchline, but the sliding challenge put it out of play and flicked it off Coman. It's gone out for a throw, which will be taken on the PSG left-hand side. Both sides just feeling each other out really so far in the opening 8-9 minutes. That one quick counter-attack from PSG, which Mbappe couldn't quite exploit, and it remains goalless and chanceless.
Just looking at the Bayern team and looking around it, where's the weakness? The only sort of weakness you can possibly, I know he's on a fantastic form, would be Choupo-Moting. Would be, you know, the only, looking at it, maybe the only, it's not the only one, but he's not world class in that position. You know, that is for sure. But defensively, they're very, very solid. You know, that midfield of Goretzka, you know, the two holding players in there, and Kimmich, absolutely superb. And they do their job. They're not expected to really go forward and create too many chances. And then you've got the front 3-4 players that just go and do their thing. You know, ultra organised. Everybody's just really, really solid and really good in their own position.
With a sliding challenge, dispossessed Lionel Messi. And the ball goes back for Jan Sommer, who signed from Borussia Mönchengladbach back in January after more than 330 games for the club, but they needed a high-profile custodian in the long-term absence of Neuer following his accident, and Sommer certainly fitted the bill. He's had a good start to life at Bayern, conceding less than a goal a game so far.
And what a ridiculous accident, by the way. It's incredible, isn't it? You know, we all know one of the most dangerous. I can't even believe you're not allowed to go skiing, for one. We certainly weren't in my day in the contracts. You know, no dangerous sports or no winter sports, anything like that. I mean, sheer stupidity, really.
Yeah, you can just imagine the phone call. Boss have had an accident. Oh, okay. As long as you weren't out skiing, it'll be all right. Here's Messi. Played out towards the PSG right, and it's whipped in with real pace. A decent delivery from Hakimi. Wasn't too far away from finding the top left-hand corner, which I don't think was his intention. Trying to find one of the white-shirted bodies in the middle. A little bit too close to goal, and he almost embarrassed Jan Sommer, who turned and was very grateful to see the ball, having cleared his head, also go past that far post.
Yeah, it was a miss-hit, wasn't it? And I think the wide players, because you've got Messi and Mbappe, neither spectacularly amazing in the air, you've got to whip those crosses in with such pace and hope they can just get something on the end of it. It's not, you can't just feel it into the area and one of them is going to come up and rise like a salmon and power it into the net with his head.
Marquinhos with a poor ball towards Sergio Ramos. That just put a little bit of pressure on Nuno Mendes, but Fabian Ruiz is in there to rescue the situation for PSG, and they end up winning a throw. They are underway at Tottenham. We'll keep you updated. 0-0. Still inside the first minute there. 1-0 to Milan on aggregate. This one 1-0 to Bayern Munich on aggregate. And we're 12 minutes in. Bayern Munich will be able to bring the ball forward now. Choupo-Moting sticking out of right foot to bring it under control. Return away towards the edge of the penalty area. Verratti was in there doing what Verratti does. Man is a veteran of more than 400 PSG appearances, breaking up the attack, playing it forward, but it was almost immediately cut out by Stanisic. And Kimmich's got the ball at his feet in the midfield for Bayern and will be able to turn and get Davis going down the left-hand side.
Just looking around the Bayern team, talented, hard-working, organised. No out-and-out superstar, not over-reliant on one particular player within that. They are just a magnificent team.
Nagelsmann's got a little bit of history with PSG. He lost to them in the semi-finals in 2020 when he was the Leipzig coach. You sense that certainly has been playing on his mind. Interesting comments in the pre-match press conference. Never one necessarily to get a straight bat behind any question that he's asked. He said, PSG have a clear identity. They've got habits that you can exploit. But they do hit you on the counter-attack if you get it wrong. They putting the ball in the net, the whistle had long gone.
Don't do that, Jim. Don't curse the goal. Don't put it in the net after there's been a foul.
Long ball played forward, whistle had gone. It was a collision between Mbappe and goalkeeper Sommer as he came out to meet it.
It's a clear foul, wasn't it? Ball was over the top. Sommer takes it in two hands and Mbappe just steams straight into him. The whistle's gone and he obviously rolls it into an empty net.
Yeah, Sommer had the ball in both hands and then Mbappe had Sommer in both his hands for a moment, shoved him to the ground. Referee again getting that one right. Daniele Orsato making the on-field decisions tonight. Marquinhos finds Verratti. Now Sergio Ramos, man who twice scored at the Allianz in the second leg of the semi-final in 2014 in his Real Madrid days. He played against Bayern in 3 semi-finals, of which he won 2. Played against him in a quarter-final as well. He won that one, hoping to be part of a side to knock Bayern Munich out of the Champions League knockout stages for a 4th time in his career today, which would be some record, possibly an unparalleled one as well. Here's Verratti trying to squeeze the ball forward, too far ahead of Messi. One back by Davis, stepping up from the defensive line to find Musiala. You're with Talksport with 14 minutes in, and it's 0-0 between Bayern and PSG. More live European football for you tomorrow. Arsenal in Lisbon, away to Sporting. It's on Talksport 2. It's one of the early games tomorrow. Kicks off at 5:45 on Talksport 2 tomorrow. Here's Davis, left-hand side of the penalty area for Bayern. Losing out to Verratti. Hakimi knocking it forward. And well played by Danilo Pereira, who can bring it away before a collision between him and Goretzka. The referee says no foul. And Pereira stays on the ground. Davis playing it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Muller, the Bayern captain, laying it off. Stanisic forward to join the attack. Out towards Kingsley Coman. Back it comes for Kimmich. Goretzka making a good early run inside the box that was seen, but Verratti headed the ball in away. And then Fabio Ruiz will be able to calm it down in the midfield. Marquinhos plays it out for Nuno Mendes, who will get the ball forward towards halfway. Half-time in the other WSL game tonight at Kingsmeadow. Here's Talksport's Ian Abraham.
Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. Aguero right in penalty on 12 minutes after Sam Kerr had been fouled. And Jess Carter sweeping in 6 yards out from a corner 8 minutes later on 21 means that the break. It's Chelsea 2, Brighton 0.
So both of the WSL games at half-time. 2-0 to the hosts and favourites in each of them. Here's Musiala. Square through the midfield for Kimmich. Kimmich now to his right. An opportunity for Goretzka. Let's fly. They struck it sweetly, but it was a comfortable save, and the goalkeeper diving to his right-hand side, got his body behind it. Donnarumma would have been frustrated to have been beaten by a low shot from 30 yards and made a comfortable stop.
Yeah, it's a decent strike, though, on an immaculate pitch. Slippery, greasy surface. I think Donnarumma was fortunate that it was straight into him, able to gather it, sort of the second attempt into his midriff.
Possession, dead level 50-50 in the early stages. PSG bringing the ball forward, but no quality of the long pass on the counter-attack, looking for Hakimi, and it rolls through for Jan Sommer.
Tell you what will be interesting, Jim, just looking at it. Who takes penalties for PSG? Does Mbappe take it, Messi take it, or would you give it Sergio Ramos?
I think you'd expect that it would go in. whoever was taking it. Mbappe with a sparkling record. He's got 30 goals in his 30 games this season. He scored twice on his last trip to Bayern, which was in that quarter-final a couple of seasons ago. 3 goals in his 2 matches on this ground.
I mean, Messi's missed quite a few penalties, isn't he?
He's missed more in his career than Mbappe.
I'd be tempted to give it Sergio Ramos. Just under pressure. He's absolutely... Well, I forget the game where he did the Panenka.
Here's Hakimi. We'll come back to that in a moment. Hakimi bringing it forward down the right as he won the first corner off Alphonso Davies. He has. And he goes out of play for a spot kick that'll be a corner kick that'll be taken on the right-hand side. The last penalty that PSG had, incidentally, just between Christmas and New Year, Mbappe took that. That was against Strasbourg. He took the previous one as well before the World Cup, and a 4-3 win against Troyes. So I think we know where it'll be going. And showed his nervous ability in the World Cup final as well. Here's Messi. He's going to swing this in left-footed, very deep corner, but not quite deep enough. He got Marquinhos peeling off to the far post. Someone can make the save. We're 18 minutes in, and it's Bayern 0, PSG 0. Let's find out what's been going on in the early stages at Tottenham. Here's Kev Hajar.
8th minute, and it is Tottenham 0, Milan 0. Tottenham struggling to get going so far, and Milan have settled them all quickly of the two sides, but no clear chances so far. It's Tottenham 0, Milan 0. Milan lead 1-0 on aggregate.
Okay, thank you. Here's Davis in possession. It goes back for De Ligt. De Ligt 15 yards inside his own half. When he turns and just works it back down towards the left-hand touchline again in front of the standing Christophe Galtier, the PSG coach, standing and pointing at something that he didn't like in the midfield, trying to make his point. I'm not sure that anybody was necessarily listening. Is Messi bringing it forward? De Ligt in there very strongly. Loose ball breaks, play forward again. Mbappe with a heavy touch. The angle very tight, and too tight in the end. It became prohibitive with Sommer standing protecting that near post, and he fires it into the side netting.
Yeah, it was a really, really heavy touch, wasn't it? Unlike Mbappe, very, very surprising that he had that, and then the angle was way too tight and fired it into the side net. But it just looks like that's what they're looking to do every time, PSG. They're looking to play on that counter-attack. They're looking to play balls in behind for either one of the full-backs, the wing-backs, getting in behind, or obviously Mbappe with his pace.
We're in the 20th minute. It's a goal kick that Jan Sommer's going to take. Don't know whether he's been told to wait for a moment. Does work it short now, but the press applied by PSG was a telling one as well. They've got one possession back almost in the Bayern's own defensive third. Vitinha slipped off to the left-hand side. Back he goes for Sergio Ramos, playing the 769th game of his club career today. And still more than 100 short of Messi, who's on 874. Danilo Pereira back inside his own half. Hakimi, little layoff from him. Here is the beloved Sergio Ramos, played out of the left-hand touchline for PSG as the midway stage of the first half approaches here on Talksport. Jim Proudfoot and Danny Mills talking through the action. It's 0-0. Choupo-Moting tried to turn as the ball was played for him on the counter-attack. He hadn't got too much in the way of support, and he didn't quite have the balance to be able to turn and keep the ball at his feet either, and PSG have won it back. And certainly they've had the better of it in the last 5 or 6 minutes, the visitors.
Yeah, I think Bayern, they can afford to be patient, can't they? I think they know themselves that at some point they will create chances, and they will believe in themselves. PSG haven't really caused them too many problems, as such so far. As long as they can deal with the counter-attack and that threat in behind, not seen too much else from PSG so far.
Hakimi to Verratti, now down towards Vitinha, wearing 17 for PSG, a player who once scored an FA Cup goal at Chorley. The ball inside the penalty area, headed away by De Ligt, and Davis is going to be able to clear it. A long clearance up the left-hand touchline. Choupo-Moting obediently comes to meet it, but again, such an isolated figure, nothing in the way of support for him as he got his head to a bouncing ball, but it was all but impossible to be able to feed a teammate. Muller was the man that had come forward in support for him, but Verratti's got the ball at his feet again. and Danilo Pereira is going to be able to bring it away. Saturday, Liverpool on the back of that 7-0 win against Manchester United go to Bournemouth, and it's our live offering on Game Day Live. Saturday morning, the build-up starts at 11 ahead of the 12:30 kick-off on the Dorset coast. Sam Matterface and Scott Minto talking through the action. And Game Day Live with Adrian Durham, Trevor Sinclair and Mickey Gray on Talksport from 2:30. All the goals as they go in for the Premier League and the EFL, including Leicester, Chelsea, Manchester United, Southampton and Spurs Forest, as well as a classified results service at 5 o'clock. The play stopped again. Goretzka leaning into Messi, to say the least.
Just left a little bit on him. You know, that's a bit of a naughty one, I would say. And I mean, Messi, what, 5'6", 5'7"?
Yeah.
Goretzka, he's a proper brick wall, isn't he? He's absolutely immense. That would have hurt a little bit.
Yeah, he's 6'1" and probably built to match like a 6'1" boxer. Really, he's a proper athlete in there. Messi used to that kind of treatment. Back on his feet, just gave his abdomen a little rub and gave Goretzka, the perpetrator, a dirty look. Plays continued. And ball out of play for a throw that will be taken again on the PSG right-hand side. 23 gone, it is 0-0. And their possession is creeping up, although both sides have just had the one shot on target so far. And if it's tight and cagey, that certainly suits Bayern Munich more than PSG.
Bit scrappy so far, Jim, would you say?
It's been a bit disappointing so far, I would say.
Been no real flow, has there, to the game so far? It's like neither team has really been able to impress themselves on the opposition.
Davis bringing the ball forward. I thought that he kept that in, and the assistant referee didn't agree either. Nagelsmann and the rest of the coaches on the Bayern bench. The replay suggests it was mighty close, but probably not all of the ball had gone over the line. Verratti from the throw has the ball at his feet, laid to the edge of the penalty area. Vitinha with a brisk ball out to the left-hand side for Nuno Mendes. He crosses it. De Ligt stoops to head away. Back from Nuno Mendes again, but not with a great degree of quality. Musiala can clear, but all he's done is boom it forward and try and give Choupo-Moting something to chase. And he's no Mbappe in terms of pace.
No, but they're not afraid to do that, Bayern Munich. 4 or 5 occasions, bouncing balls.
Here's Nuno Mendes at the other end. Messi wanted the pull back and he's played into him. Tries to keep his feet. Sommer is in there. He's made the initial save. Then De Ligt there with a block. And Sommer ends up with the ball in his hands. But that was the best moment of the game for the Parisians.
Half a penalty shout there? I'm not sure. Too much of the tackle. I don't know how much he got of Messi and how much he got of the ball.
Bayern will bring it forward at the other end with Muller. Choupo-Moting was waiting for the cross. Coman tried to provide it, but it was blocked. Choupo-Moting outnumbered when the ball comes in from wide positions, which might be the way that PSG can be unlocked tonight. But there were 3 around Choupo-Moting, who, as we said, has been an isolated figure. Just the ball has gone out of play. Seeing a replay now, that Messi potential penalty incident.
Very, very difficult to see in real time. It happens so quickly. Whether there's actually a touch on the ball. It's a great break from Mendes, and that's again what PSG are looking to do. Break beyond the defence. I mean, the tackle comes in. In all fairness, Messi, he doesn't go down easy. Jumps straight back up, doesn't he? Trying to get the ball back again. Didn't really appeal for it, so maybe it was just got enough on the ball.
In the Scottish Premiership, 1-1 between Celtic and Hearts, with Maida with the equaliser for Celtic, and Rangers, who were trailing at one stage at Hibs, now 2-1 up. Cholak has put them ahead. Here's Kingsley Coman, right-footed ball in with Choupo-Moting waiting for it, but it was too close to Donnarumma. That was a disappointing cross from a really good position from Coman.
You've got it too close. You've got to take the keeper out of the equation. Got to put that round about the edge of the 6-yard box. Not many goalkeepers like coming that far out when crosses are whipped in.
Donnarumma's in his second season with PSG, more than 250 appearances for Milan, having made his debut for the club, become first choice at just 16.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
He's some player. Verratti played out of the Parisian left-hand side, and it's a throw which they will take over on the far touchline. A few moments where PSG will think that they've got the game plan right here. The blueprint is there for how they're going to be able to pull this off if it's going to go their way. On the counter-attack, their ability on the counter-attack, particularly against a side that famously defends with quite a high line, and seeing a wider picture now, the Bayern back line all around the edge of the centre circle, with PSG in possession only about 15-20 yards inside their own half. So there's a big gap to play the ball into for the runs of Kylian Mbappe.
And Sommer's not the sweeper keeper, is he, like Manuel Neuer? Manuel Neuer often, 5, 10, 15 yards outside his own box, quite happy to come out and sweep up. Not really what Jan Sommer does.
Sergio Ramos with the ball, finds Marquinhos, he goes back to his goalkeeper. We'll go back to Tottenham, and here's Kevin Hatchard.
And it is the 17th minute. It's still 0-0 between Spurs and Milan, but Christian Romero has just been booked for a lunge on Rafael Leao. He's given away a free kick around about 25 yards out in the inside left channel. Spurs did have a decent counter-attack when Kulusevski teed up Emerson Royal on the edge of the area, but his deflected left-footed effort was comfortable for Mike Maignan. It's Spurs 0, Milan 0.
Yeah, that yellow card for Romero means that he will miss the first leg of the quarter-final if Spurs get through. At the moment, they've got to make sure that they're not all missing the first leg of the quarter-final. Still, Milan with the aggregate advantage, and Fraser Forster's got a free kick to defend. As Kimmich is in possession in the midfield. Play forward from him to De Ligt, and now to Musiala. Musiala working it towards the edge of the box. Davis flicking it off to his right-hand side for Muller. Muller to Stanisic, and out towards Coman. Coman coming in off the right-hand touchline. He's got 5 pretty much in a line around the edge of the penalty area if they can get the ball into that kind of area. Muller playing it back out towards Coman again. Coman getting towards the byline, an opportunity for him to deliver. He peels back out, laid back by Bayern towards halfway, and now De Ligt will have it. De Ligt controlling it on halfway, plays it down towards Musiala. Musiala bringing it forward, little give and go between him and Choupo-Moting. Choupo-Moting, like the proverbial cartoon character on a cliff, with his arms going, trying to stop himself falling and losing his balance. They were making life very difficult. Danilo Pereira in behind. It was no foul. Bayern had maintained possession and worked it back inside their own half. Let's go back to Tottenham. What happened from that Milan free kick, Kev?
Well, it was very nearly the opening goal, Jim, because it was very cleverly worked on the edge of the area. They took an eternity to actually take the free kick, and then they worked it smartly into the penalty area to the inside right channel, and Junior Macias, the Brazilian, was free and away, but he dragged his effort badly wide of the far post. So still Spurs 0, Milan 0.
And still 0-0 in this one as well between Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain. 1-0 to Bayern on aggregate. Have won their group in each of the last 5 seasons. They've reached the last 4 in 7 of the last 11 years. Such an impressive record. By their standards, disappointed to have only won this competition twice in the last 22 years. Here's Eric Choupo-Moting, left-hand side of the penalty area. Play back for Alphonso Davies. Davies knocking it square to his right. Kimmich, add to Coman. Coman level with the edge of the penalty area. Back towards Kimmich again. Kimmich threaded through towards Davis, and the referee has given a free kick. As the ball hit him, he's going to restart play with a drop ball, I think. Kimmich not happy. There's not a lot that referee Osada could do to get out of the way. So play does restart with a drop ball. Presented to Kimmich. He works it down towards Davis. Davis back for Musiala. Musiala dropping his shoulder, taking it out towards the touchline. Verratti followed him out there, having initially been done by that change of direction. Kimmich forced to slide in to keep the move alive here. He's played it back towards De Ligt. De Ligt to Goretzka, to Kimmich, to Muller. Muller 15 outside the box, high flighted ball. Brought down by Alphonso Davies on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Davies working it in. Musiala with the shot. Donnarumma's able to save it at the near post. And Musiala is able to win the corner. The spin of the ball kept it going along the dead ball line for a moment, but Musiala used his strength to protect the space, let it run out of play for the first corner. It was a decent stop by Donnarumma diving to his left.
Yeah, really good feet. Manages to turn all in one movement, sort of lets the ball come across him, turns, gets the shot away. Superb skill. absolutely magnificent. Decent save, was going in at the far post. Donnarumma able to palm it away.
13 before half-time. And the first corner to be taken by Joshua Kimmich. Diving header away from Danilo Pereira. Very good clearance from the Portuguese international, who scored a rare goal at the weekend against Nantes. Game that PSG won by 4 goals to 2. Mbappe scored one of those, which made him PSG's all-time leading goal scorer, beating Edison Cavani's tally of 200. Mbappe up to 201 in double quick time. It's Bayern on the front foot here after a decent spell of PSG possession, if not pressure. Now it's Bayern who are able to do the same. Nuno Mendes forced into a rash challenge, backing off, and Koeman committed him, and Nuno Mendes forced the foul in.
And like I said, Bayern Munich, they won't panic. Even if they come under a little bit of pressure in this game, that they're experienced. They'll keep playing the same way. They'll be patient. They'll wait for opportunities, and this is a really good opportunity. Kimmich, normally fantastic delivery from free kicks.
So he's got Upamecano waiting at the far post, and Goretzka towards the edge of the penalty area. Nobody picking up Musiala on the edge of the penalty area who could make an uncharted run into the far post here.
He's loitering, isn't he? He's waiting for the second ball to come out, and he's completely unmarked.
Kimmich low in towards the near post, and Donnarumma's handling was good under a little bit of pressure from the players advancing towards him. Everybody expected the ball to be flighted in, and he just drove it right across the deck into that near post area, but no one could get a touch.
Clearly something they've looked at and worked on the training ground. I think we're all expecting it to be lofted towards the far post. He whipped it in towards the near post. 2 or 3 Bayern Munich players sliding in, couldn't quite get that vital touch though.
Now Upamecano on the Bayern Munich right, played down towards Koeman. And Sergio Ramos wins it back, fires it towards halfway. Stanisic can kill the ball. Upamecano takes over again, 15 yards inside his own half. Game's coming up to half-time in the Scottish Premiership with no further addition to the score. Celtic being held at the moment, Rangers ahead. Donnarumma clearing down towards the right-hand side. It's gone out of play. It's a throw to be taken on the Bayern Munich left-hand side. But another yellow card at Tottenham, Kevin Hatchard, and another potential suspension as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. Clement Longley would be out of the first leg of the quarter-final should Spurs get through. An aerial challenge with Olivier Giroud as Son plays a ball to the far post from a cleverly worked corner, but it's overhit, and there's been a lack of precision from Tottenham so far. Yeah, Clement Longley in an aerial challenge with Olivier Giroud when he caught the former Arsenal and Chelsea striker in the head with his right elbow. So given the yellow card, 2 of Spurs' back 3 have been booked so far. Still 0-0.
Marquinhos has got a problem here. You're not missing anything. I think that PSG are going to have to make a change. He came into this game with a question mark hanging over him. He's had a back problem in recent times, and he's not going to be able to continue. And Nordic Mukiele, who similarly isn't 100% fit, he's had a hamstring problem, but he's going to be the man that's going to come on. And Marquinhos comes off not necessarily with a recurrence of that back problem. He's holding his ribs, now moves his right hand back round behind his back. I think he's just pulled up in trying to defend that last low Kimmich free kick. He had a problem. I think that is probably a recurrence of the existing injury. So he leaves the field, and Marquinhos will be replaced by Nordi Mukiele, who signed for PSG from Leipzig in the summer. He's played against Bayern 6 times in his career and never beaten them. PSG need that particular run to come to an end tonight. Half-time, Livingston 1, Dundee United 0. They're in the 6th minute of stoppage time at Celtic, where it's still 1-1, and Rangers 2-1 up at Hibs in the 2nd minute of stoppage time. That game at Easter Road. 0-0 between Bayern and PSG at the moment. Mbappe now with the captain's armband after Marquinhos' departure. And De Ligt's got the ball at his feet for Bayern Munich. Here's the former Champions League semi-finalist Danny Mills on Talksport.
Waiting for it to burst into life, aren't we? I mean, for that to happen, we need a goal, at one end or the other. It's still very, very cagey at the moment. It's almost like PSG feel that they will score at some point. Bayern Munich feel that they can probably keep a clean sheet as well. Both teams cautious, I would say, at the moment.
When you consider the the glittering cast list that PSG can call upon, including this man Lionel Messi, but he can't find a way past Goretzka here, who's dealt with him pretty well so far. They've not got a good record away from home in the Champions League. They won the last away tie at Juventus, but it's only their second away win in 8 Champions League games, surprisingly. Coutinho's got the ball now. Former Wolves man, forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Verratti, Hakimi. Oh, very well worked back for Hakimi. Gets the angle in to cross it in, but it's chested out calmly by Goretzka. And De Ligt's clearance was a poor one. Goretzka just turned away in disgust as De Ligt shanked that one clear. Straight out of play for a PSG throw. Hakimi's just been able to control, having taken the throw, got the return ball and kept it in on the line. Then he was in with a late challenge on Davis, but the referee says no problem, play continues. It's a throw to Bayern, they've taken it, worked it back for Sommer, turns it onto his right foot, he's got to get it away in all kinds of danger, he's lost it. Coutinho cleared off the line by De Ligt. Jan Sommer's the luckiest man in Bavaria.
What a goal line clearance that is from De Ligt. Penalty shout? I tell you what, I think Jan Sommer, I think he gets a bit of the player when he goes to try and retrieve that. Certainly no Manuel Neuer in that situation. Well, he's had some disasters trying to do that from time to time. Bayern very, very lucky.
Here's Messi. High ball out towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. Still PSG have got it, it's worked in and then cleared. Well, he had the ball at his feet and he took a touch. And
how does he miss?
And then an ill-advised second touch. Having a third touch was just suicidal, really. And Vitinha robbed him. And yet, how did he miss? He was 8-9 yards out, no goalkeeper, didn't get the pace on it. And De Ligt's come from nowhere and has just been able to clear it off the line and to safety. But Jan Sommer, just a disastrous contribution.
I mean, what an opportunity. He had time and space. Could have easily... He was a little bit off balance, but he could have had another touch quite easily. But somehow De Ligt comes steaming in. What a glory. You're not going to get a better opportunity than that. Open goal. Defender outside the width of the goal, and you're about to shoot, and somehow you allow him to clear it off the line. That's got to go down as a terrible miss, off balance or not.
Well, De Ligt knew exactly what a big moment it was, because he slid in to get it away, and as he was getting up, he was looking at the fans with fists clenched and a big Dutch roar to those supporters.
Jan Sommer owes him one. Owes him several, in fact.
Not much. That was a horrible moment. I mean, Sommer hasn't played in many games of this magnitude, and they will press the life out of him now that the ball goes back to him again. This time Mbappe can't get there. Sommer knew that 2 touches would suffice. Ball's with Hakimi. Hakimi getting it back. That's been far and away the biggest moment of the game so far.
Oh, it was a glorious opportunity. I think the disappointing thing about PSG up to this point is they've put 5 or 6 high crosses into the box. You've got Mbappe and Messi in the middle. You're not really going to expect them to rise above anybody and score those types of headers.
Now Goretzka's won it back here for Bayern. He'll drive forward. To his left is Davis. Davis cutting it onto his left foot inside the penalty area. Well blocked by Mukiele and out of play for a corner.
I think he might have had a touch too much in that situation. Maybe as he got it out of his feet, just driven it towards the far post. Incredibly quick feet, little inside-outside to go past the fullback, and that was the opportunity to drive it across goal. But he had another touch, and then he tried the little dink and didn't get enough on it.
Half-time in those games in Scotland, Celtic 1, Hearts 1, Hibs 1, Rangers 2, Livingston 1, Dundee United 0. Back underway in the second half of the 2 WSL games, with both still 2-0 to the home teams. 0-0, 4 minutes to go to half-time in Bavaria. In comes the corner, diving header, might have been going wide, hit a PSG player. Coman then with an air shot around the edge of the penalty area, but it didn't break his way like Sterling's air shot did last night against Dortmund. He did get the ball back at his feet eventually, but all he could do was use the emergency exit behind him and fire it back for Jan Sommer, who had plenty of time this time to control it and play it out towards Dayot Upamecano. You would talk sport, and with 41 gone, it's 0-0 and 1-0 to Bayern Munich on aggregate.
I think it probably was going wide, Jim, but it might have hit Stanisic. I think it might have been one of the Bayern players that hit. I think both these teams have an awful lot of respect for each other. Both understand that in a moment's notice you can get hurt by the opposition, and maybe that's why it's been a little bit cagey up to this point.
Just the one goal between them when they met back on Valentine's night, and nothing between them so far. De Ligt denying Vitinha with the goal line clearance, but that's been the only real notable moment in front of goal. De Ligt now stumbles and miscued his clearance, and Messi will fire it over the top, and Mbappe can't quite get there as Sommer races out to the edge of his penalty area and smothers the ball, but Mbappe with the pace to get in behind the two centre-halves and cause problems.
Yes, that's a clear plan from PSG, looking to play that ball in behind or over the top for the pace of Mbappe. And Sommer's going to have to be razor sharp.
And Muller, poor ball, but it was a poor clearance. Fell for Musiala. Shot comes in, is blocked and goes out of play for a throw down by the corner flag.
Another half chance. Musiala's balance in his feet are absolutely superb. He's such an elegant footballer.
Still only 15 goals this season as well. Great versatility about him. The way that he plays, can play anywhere in the four positions, really. Messi bringing it forward. Goretzka's done a good job on Messi. He lent into the much smaller opponent there. Now Bayern will work it forward. Musiala will chase, but cross comes at Mukiele, who's been straight at the pace of the game after coming on for the injured Marquinhos. Vitinha runs out of room and puts it out for a throw. Goretzka against Messi is a good battle. He's used his strength and physical superiority very well.
Yeah, he's much quicker than Messi. Powerful athlete. And he just leans into him at times. Very, very clever. And he will know he'll be quite happy to take a booking, and if he has to do that, not a problem. They've got plenty of quality to bring on. If it gets a little bit wary, and if they think, oh, he's on a yellow, makes another foul, they can bring him off and bring on replacements.
There's only one Bayern player who's a yellow card away from suspension tonight. One in the starting line, should I say. That's Kimmich. They've got Mazraoui on the bench, who's in the same boat. Now PSG have got Sergio Ramos and Verratti. I think you could probably have predicted which two PSG players were going to be a yellow card away from a suspension.
Verratti's amazing. In all fairness, he's absolutely... The amount of sliding tackles he makes in this day and age is incredible. How he's not getting booked every single game and sent off in probably every other game is just astonishing.
12 yellows and a red this season he's had.
That's nice average.
Yeah.
But he must make 5 or 6 sliding tackles a half.
He's very good at what he does. Here's Davis bringing the ball forward. I'd much rather Verratti was with you rather than against you. Davis blocked off there. Hakimi defended well. Stopped him turning and getting a cross in. Hakimi will lay it back now for Mukiele. And to his left-hand side for Sergio Ramos. We're going to play 2 additional minutes at the end of this first half, and we're in them now. And it remains 0-0.
2 quality teams, very respectful of each other so far. Both a little bit nervous, I think, to really go for it and leave themselves open or exposed at the back.
And as the old footballing cliche goes, they have pretty much cancelled each other out so far. They've both so well versed in what the opposition can do. They've made sure that they don't give the opposition the opportunity to really exploit those promising areas so far. Is Mukiele trying to get the way past Davis. Davis giving it away towards Vitinha, the man who'll be very frustrated that he hasn't got his name on the score sheet tonight to give PSG a first half lead. Just a minute to go, 10 minutes to go at Tottenham, where it's still 0-0. Mbappe coming forward up the left-hand touchline. Good slanting challenge from Upamecano. Puts the ball out of play from his compatriot for a throw. The PSG will take level with the edge of the Bayern Munich penalty area.
It's no surprise they've cancelled each other out. If I'm on it, if you look at it, I think PSG have slightly more strengths than Bayern Munich, but they also have more weaknesses. So, across the whole, we're talking about, Messi and Mbappe, are certainly better than the forward line of Bayern. But then defensively at times they're not great, whereas Bayern they're just solid all over the pitch, and that's why we are getting this sort of intriguing game at the moment, because it's a game of chess. Each team is just waiting for a mistake, aren't they?
So what you're saying is Choupo-Moting wouldn't get into the PSG forward line ahead of Messi or Mbappe?
Don't think so. Be unlikely.
Well, Mahrez will tell you he scored almost as many goals as Messi this season, but hasn't really had a sniff of an opportunity so far in the first half. It is 0-0, but only thanks to the quick thinking of Matthijs de Ligt, sliding in after a terrible blunder by Jan Sommer to deny Vitinha the opening goal. There haven't been very many opportunities other than that. 3 shots on target between the two teams. Half-time, Bayern 0, PSG 0. That's good news for Bayern.
And back here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it's 0-0 on the night, 1-0 to Milan on aggregate with nearly just over 8 minutes to go until the 45 are up. Spurs putting some nice passes together, but haven't really created any openings, and it is a bit of a stalemate so far. We'll get a proper update from Kev Hatchard in a moment, but Danny Mills, Vitinha's only goal for Wolves was a 35-yard screamer in the FA Cup at Chorley. He gave the keeper no chance, but I'm still trying to work out how he didn't score that chance. The only thing I could come up with is, you talked about it in commentary, Jan Sommer chopping away at Vitinha's ankles, just trying to recover from his mistake. Did that prove enough to put him off balance, to put him off his shot, affect his ability to shoot? Did it actually impede him to the point where actually the referee could have given a penalty?
I think he jumps over the tackle coming in from the goalkeeper. So it'd be very, very difficult to give a penalty in that situation. And because that he does stumble a little bit, he's a little bit off balance. And I think he sees an open goal in front of him. And he's probably just thinking, all I've got to do is just hit the target. So I'm off balance, I can take that little bit of extra care. I don't have to hit it hard. If I get this on target, it's in. Because I'm not even sure De Ligt is in his periphery vision at that point, because he seems to come from miles away, right out the side of the picture, and suddenly get this last minute slide to clear it off the line. And that's the only thing that I can think, that he thinks all he has to do is hit the target. There's nobody around, and however hard he hits it, it's going to roll in. But lo and behold, there was Matthijs de Ligt with an incredible goal line clearance.
Yeah, it's a never give up thing, isn't it? He's just going to do all he can to try and keep it out of the net, and he gets a little bit lucky, because if it goes in to Vitinha's left hand side into that corner of the net, De Ligt will have no chance, but he gives himself a chance of saving it and saving a goal. And you've got to put it down to really good defending.
Yeah, it is. He does, as he said, he doesn't give up. He sees the potential. He probably looks at the player and think, well, I'll get back just in case, and it works out for him. But I think that's what it is from Vitinha. I think it's the fact that he can't even see, because he's going away from that side where De Ligt comes from, so he can't see him. And he's probably just thinking, you know what, all I've got to do, as long as I hit the target, this ball goes in, because the goalkeeper's behind me at this stage. So I think that's the only sort of excuse that I can make for him.
The onus is on PSG to get a goal, otherwise they are definitely going out. I think we expect a little bit more. I actually personally think that Paris Saint-Germain will be okay at the break, because they're still very much in the tie. You know, 1 goal and it's all square, so I think they'll feel okay about it as far as things have gone so far. One thing that has caught my eye, there seems to be a systematic fouling of Lionel Messi. It's been happening his whole career. It's happening tonight as well, and maybe the referee could brush up on that a bit.
Yeah, but what they're doing very, very well is they're sharing it out.
Yeah,
you know, a little bit like we've seen the Italians do it. You know, Bonucci, Chiellini. You know,
they've got 11 Danny Mills.
Well, again, you know, and so it's, and they're not serious fouls as such. You know, they're little nudges. They're leaning into him.
It's never going to be a yellow card.
No,
but it is going to put him off his stride. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a different player every single time, it's like, well, what can the referee do about that? You know, it's clever. You know, they're doing whatever they possibly can. I think they need to get Mbappe involved in the game more. So far, all they've looked for is that ball over the top from Mbappe. Hasn't really had the ball to feet much, to get the ball maybe to turn and start running at people. Messi's been doing that, and because of that, they've been able to go really, really tight to Lionel Messi and get 2 or 3 players around him. So maybe they've just got to mix it up a little bit in the second half.
0-0 at half-time then in Munich. Bayern Munich 0, PSG 0, and on aggregate that means Bayern Munich lead 1-0 and will be going through unless Messi and Mbappe can do something special in the second half. Live on Talksport. So with 5 to the break here, or less than 5 to the break here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, what's been happening? Kev Hatchards.
Well, it is 0-0, Adrian, and it's been nervy stuff from Spurs so far. They've struggled to carve out clear-cut chances. It took until the 35th minute for Mike Maignan, the Milan goalkeeper, to really be tested. It was a slick passing move on the edge of the penalty area from Spurs. They found Harry Kane in the inside right channel. He went for the side-footed right foot effort, and it was comfortable for Maignan to just kick the ball to safety. Milan's best chance so far, Junior Macias dragging an effort wide from inside the penalty area after a cleverly worked free kick. But Spurs huffing and puffing at the moment. Spurs 0, Milan 0.
So no goals in the Champions League so far tonight as it stands. Bayern Munich and Milan will be heading through. In the Scottish Premiership, Celtic 1, Hearts 1, Hibs 1, Rangers 2, Livingston 1, Dundee United 0. In the WSL, Arsenal 2, Liverpool 0, Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. And one game in National League South tonight, Havant and Waterlooville 0, St Albans City 1 is the half-time score. You're listening to Kick-Off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
Kick-Off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
Whether you're searching for the latest consoles or retro games, wherever your passion takes you, Visa Secure Technology keeps your payments safe. Visa, how you pay matters.
It was a day like any other. You'd walk the dog, gone to work, and done the big shop. When suddenly, out of nowhere...
Oh no.
I need a pharmacist!
Take the drama out of minor illnesses, from coughs and colds to itchy eyes and earache. For expert advice, speak to your pharmacist. Your NHS is here for you.
So, took my date to Nando's last night, right? Medium half chicken, spicy rice, garlic bread. Cause man needs no menu. Anyway, she goes, I've never had Nando's garlic bread. And I'm like, what? So, gave her half, takes a bite, and I swear down, it was love. Then, she binned me off for nicking her last chip. Madness. Nando's, this must be the place.
The Graham Norton Radio Show with Waitrose.
Over on Virgin Radio.
I'm off on holiday. Smell you later. Worry not, though. The lovely Angela Scanlon will be looking after you. She'll be joined by Charlotte Ritchie, and show chef Martha will be back in the kitchen cooking up a storm. Say hi to them for me. See you very soon.
The Graham Norton Radio Show with Waitrose. Ooh, food to feel good about.
Saturday and Sunday from 9:30.
Over on Virgin Radio.
But our biggest carbon footprint could be from heating our home. Here at Vaillant, we're serious about climate change, which is why when you switch to a Vaillant boiler or heat pump, you could reduce your carbon footprint and your energy bills too. Now that is a good place to start. Find your local installer now. Why wait? Vaillant.
Let's join Barry live for the build-up to this monumental match. What's your prediction?
You know, I've been watching this team for a very long time, Steve, and I could tell you now, score will be 3-1, there'll be over 9 corners, and a Frenchman will score a header.
Very specific, Barry.
It's Bet Builder from LiveScore BetMate. You can combine markets from thousands of options to create your own bet, or if you can't make up your mind, you can choose from the pre-built quick bet options.
Which is exactly what you did, isn't it?
Bet Builder from LiveScore Bet. Building a bet just got easier. Full account terms apply. Bet responsibly. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Jim White and Simon Jordan on Talksport. Mid-morning radio that's up for the job.
He spent £500 million to get precisely nowhere.
Concrete sports talk.
It really is incredible.
Rapid setting opinion.
You're not justifying it, but you're explaining it. It doesn't need an explanation.
Big names all bagged up.
Anthony Joshua, good afternoon.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Delivered tomorrow morning from 10 on Talksport by Selco Builders Warehouse. Check stock at your local branch. We've got it at selcobw.com.
Metals for You is the UK's online warehouse with everything you need for your big trade or DIY home metal project at low, low direct prices.
At metalsforyou.co.uk, we've got loads of aluminium, brass, bronze, copper, and a real feel for steel.
Plus, reduce waste and let Metals for You do the hard work with our amazing, free, no-hassle cutting service.
Measure, click, cut, ship at metalsforyou.co.uk.
The UK's online metal warehouse,
where we're mad about metal.
Love the build-up to the Cheltenham Festival. Love studying the form. Then get ready with a Cheltenham Anti-Post bet bundle. 5 bets to use on the festival's biggest races. Like our premium bet bundle. Pay £5 and get £10 of bets. Cheltenham bet bundles. Only from Coral.
18 plus UK ROI and online only. Ends 13/30 on 14/3/23. Real money purchase of £5 to get a racing bet bundle. 5 times £2. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. Take time to think.
Champions League live on Talksport with Till, the payment provider from NatWest. See if you could save with simple fees for businesses. Till by NatWest. Tomorrow begins today. Fees, T's and C's and eligibility criteria apply.
UEFA Champions League football live on Talksport.
It is Talksport. Second half to come. Bayern Munich 0, PSG 0. Bayern leading 1-0 on aggregate. Let's take you around the grounds. We're in 2 minutes added on at the end of the first half here at Tottenham. Still 0-0 on the night. Still 1-0 to Milan on aggregate. What's happening at Meadow Park in the WSL? Charlotte Richardson.
It's Arsenal 2, Liverpool 0. No goals in the second period. Liverpool made a triple substitution at the break and it's worked really effectively. They've asked far more probing questions of the hosts. Just yet to really work Arsenal goalkeeper very much in this half. It's Arsenal 2, Liverpool 0.
And what's happening at Meadow Park? Sorry, not Kings Meadow. I think there's been a goal there, Ian Abrahams.
Chelsea 3, Brighton. And if it wasn't already game over, it certainly is now. Sam Kerr through the middle. She's missed 2 or 3 chances and had a goal disallowed. This time very unselfishly laid it to her right hand side for Canarid to slip the ball into an empty net. All over here, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 0.
Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
And Jess O'Reilly from Ladbrokes right on cue. Half-time whistle's gone 0-0 here at Tottenham Hotspur. We'll talk about PSG 0-0 away to Bayern Munich. And as you said, Bayern Munich, they're still on course to go through.
Yep, definitely. So far, so good for them, really. It's not been too challenging for them. Obviously, a shame for PSG. Marquinhos sort of injured himself, really, didn't he, there? So Bayern are still your match favourites at 10-11. PSG are 15-4 to somehow get a couple of goals in this second half and win the game. It's 19-10 for the draw. But as I say, Bayern very much still on course to progress to the next round at 10-11.
Spurs need a goal in the second half, 0-0 at half-time here.
Yeah, they haven't really looked like scoring either, have they? Let's be honest. They are ever reliant on Harry Kane for that creativity going forward. And unfortunately, Son's poor form is continuing. He barely looks like he's been playing, I'm afraid. Spurs are 11-8. Milan are in there at 18-5. I'm still backing the draw personally at 5-4. But if Kane is going to get the goal, he is in there around the 3-1 mark to score the next goal of the game. But yeah, a few punters signing with that draw at 5-4. I must be, must level with you.
Jess, thanks very much. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
And the National League South, Havant and Waterlooville have equalised at home to St Albans early in the second half. But as we say, half-time whistle's just gone here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Bit underwhelming, and Spurs with work to do, Kev Hatchards.
Absolutely. It's been nervy. It's been tentative from the home side so far. It took them 35 minutes to have a meaningful effort on target when some slick passing saw Harry Kane located in the penalty area in the inside right channel. He went for a low, skidding, side-footed effort that was was kicked to safety rather easily by the Milan goalkeeper, Mike Maignan. That's the only save he's had to make so far. Fraser Forster untroubled at the other end, although he should have been when a cleverly worked free kick saw the ball find Junior Macias in the penalty area in the inside right channel, and he dragged his low effort horribly wide of the target. Milan, the happier of the two teams so far. Half-time, it is goalless, and it's Milan who lead 1-0 on aggregate.
And this, Sonny's not having a great season, but even when he's on the ball, I think there's I don't know, it feels uncomfortable around the ground because they know he can't do the things that he's been really good at doing since he joined Spurs.
Well, if you look at his career, it's been all about him being explosive, going past people, coming up with a long-range drive from nothing. There's a real vibrancy to his play, but at the moment it's tentative. He's playing the ball square instead of driving forwards, and that kind of sums up Spurs' performance so far, because it's all been very slow. It's all been easy for Milan to keep their shape. They've got to somehow try to stretch them. I think the worry for Tottenham in the second half is Theo Hernandez. He's had a few good runs down the left, and as Spurs start to really commit, he's going to run into that space behind.
Can't help thinking Richarlison might just shake things up a bit, might just disrupt the opponent.
Needs somebody random like him. What I love about him is that he'll come up with something from nowhere that defenders aren't expecting, or he'll just try and imprint himself on the game with just a bit of, nastiness, rough up a defender, that kind of thing. It's all a bit safe from Tottenham at the moment, and it's all a bit unimaginative.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. Spurs 0, Milan 0. Obviously, they're in for half-time. There's a delayed kick-off here, so this will finish after the Bayern Munich PSG game. Rangers have gone 3-1 up at Hibs. Fashion Sakala with the third. And don't forget, tomorrow at 5:45 kick-off. It's on Talksport 2. Arsenal back in Europa League action away to Sporting Lisbon. We'll have commentary of that. That's on Talksport 2. And international football returns towards the end of the month, and Talksport will be out in Naples for England's Euro qualifier with Italy, and then at Wembley for the Ukraine qualifier as well. But let's take you back to Champions League action. Bayern Munich 0, PSG 0, 1-0 to Bayern on aggregate. The big stars need to shine for Paris in the second half. Live on Talksport with Danny Mills and Jim Proudfoot.
Well, you'll be aware that Mukiele came on about 10 minutes before half-time for PSG to replace Marquinhos, who went off injured. Mukiele himself carrying an injury. He hasn't reappeared for the second half. They've had to take him off already. So PSG's miserable run continues. He's been replaced at the back by a 17-year-old centre-half making his European debut, El Shadil Bitshiabu. Just the 9th game of his career, and significantly the biggest of those 9. We're back underway. Bayern in all red, kicking from left to right in this second half. PSG in all white, but their shirts have a very dark blue and red graphicing on the front, PSG colours, and they're in possession over on the far touchline. Run through the two sides for you in a moment. PSG in possession here with Vitinha. Missed the one real clear-cut opportunity of the first half when his effort after embarrassing Jan Sommer was kicked off the line by De Ligt. Koeman's done well to win it back here from Nuno Mendes. Koeman, the man whose goal at the moment is taking Bayern through from that first leg last month. It's played forward towards Choupo-Moting. Back from him through the midfield for Kimmich. Just dropping deep to meet it Thomas Muller, the Bayern captain. Flicked out towards the left-hand touchline and swiftly played back through the midfield again towards Kimmich, who will drop his shoulder, ride one challenge and then a second in towards Choupo-Moting. Choupo-Moting turned by Musiala out towards the left for Alphonso Davies. This is a really good move from Bayern. PSG still keeping in tight shape back behind the ball. But Koeman can deliver a high right-footed ball inside the penalty area from him, which is scuffed away. Not the best clearance from Hakimi. Brought back down again on the left-hand side of the PSG penalty area by Davies, but Hakimi's done well to recover the situation. And then Verratti maybe got a little bit lucky. He was trying to shepherd the ball over the line and out of play for a goal kick. He'd given it up as being won, but Davies very nearly nipped in to get the cross, and he couldn't. We're 2 minutes into the second half. It's 0-0 still, and Danny Mills is alongside me.
Well, it's going to be interesting when PSG change their game plan and really start to go for it. Because so far, we said it's been very respectful, a little bit cagey at times. but there's going to become a point in the game where they're going to have to start taking some real chances.
Now PSG have Donnarumma in goal, Danilo Pereira, Sergio Ramos and Bichiabu. The back three, Hakimi, Vitinha, Verratti, Fabian Ruiz and Nuno Mendes. And then Messi and Mbappe up top. Bayern, Sommer in goal, Stanisic, Upamecano, De Ligt and Davis. But Davis playing in his trademark high position down that left-hand side from left back. Goretzka and Kimmich. And then Coman, Muller and Musiala. And Choupo-Moting up front. We're 3 minutes into the second half. It's 0-0. Fabian Ruiz just loses out. An opportunity for Coman to bring it forward. Bichiabu, who for 17 is such an imposing player. Back to his goalkeeper, it's a poor clearance. Muller seizing upon it after being played in by Kimmich. They couldn't really make the most of it, but Davis has got it now towards the edge of the penalty area. Back from him to Kimmich. Kimmich to Goretzka. Closed down quickly by Messi, who gave Goretzka a little taste of his own medicine there and ended up getting it back to the face. Goretzka stayed down. PSG can bring it away. Verratti for Vitinha. Messi will continue. Makes his way towards the edge of the penalty area. He's played in now, just trying to slip it back for Fabian Ruiz. He got the pass wrong. And Kingsley Coman is going to be able to bring it away. Almost lost it. But it's rescued by Stanisic. His clearance isn't the best. Coman down on the floor. Kneeling down for a moment, just considering things. Got back to his feet once the ball had gone. Vitinha, Mbappe, shot on the turn, is blocked. He gets it back again and lays it off on the edge of the penalty area, but it's just passed it straight to Thomas Muller, who delayed his clearance inexplicably. It was then blocked by Nuno Mendes, but now Bayern will be able to get it away. And that was a passage of play that lacked a little bit of quality from both sets of defenders. Verratti back out of PSG right, where a ball is driven in by Hakimi towards Fabian Ruiz and Coman heads it away.
I don't know if you agree, Jim, but PSG a little bit lacking in ideas in the forward areas. I mean, that sounds ridiculous when you've got Mbappe and Messi in your side, but they're a little bit predictable at the moment.
Yeah, and sometimes even the big hitters, far be it from me to say, but seem to be making the wrong decisions. Mbappe there had a pass out of the right-hand side of the area for Hakimi that was on, and he tried something that was a much higher tariff, and it didn't come off. PSG with possession again. They've had more of it, but only fractionally than Bayern. Bayern winning it back. Seems to say that Musiala wriggling away. He's done really well. Runs towards the edge of the area. Choupo-Moting going down, and the referee will have a look at it. Play goes on for now. VAR, I'm sure, will inspect that incident. And Messi caught in possession on the edge of his own area. Shot comes in from Kimmich. Hits Choupo-Moting in an offside position. He did the defending for PSG.
Margan is absolutely furious. I'm not sure which one he's furious about at the moment. The possible penalty. We're just seeing it again. Oh no, this is the shot. I mean, there's nothing that Choupo-Moting can do. He's getting up after going down. No, there's not enough for that. Choupo-Moting kicks the back of the defender's leg. It's a little bit like the Coleman one for Everton at the weekend. There's nothing really the defender can do about that. He's stood still, he's in the way. Choupo-Moting kicks the back of the defender's leg and goes down. Right decision.
Celtic were behind after 6 minutes at home to Hearts, but they've turned it around. They lead 2-1 for Furuhashi, scoring his 25th of the season for Ange Postecoglou's men, looking for a 12th straight win tonight in Postecoglou's 100th game in charge. Bayern Munich 0-0. Choupo-Moting 1-0. Well, it's PSG that have got the big world stars in the forward line, but it's Eric Choupo-Moting that has scored the goal. But has it been ruled out? I think it might have been. Ball flashing from the left-hand side of the penalty area. Great movement from him. Powered a header across the face of the goalkeeper. And the VAR is checking for a potential offside leading up to the goal. We're seeing a replay now. As the ball is fired in. Thomas Muller was in there. No. Choupo-Moting with the header. Did Muller touch it?
Well, that's the thing. Choupo-Moting is definitely onside. It's whether or not I think Thomas Muller gets a touch on it. Thomas Muller was very clever. When he ran off, he went to Choupo-Moting and said that he'd scored the goal, and he didn't celebrate at all. They've given it as offside.
Yeah, it stays 0-0.
So he must have got a touch. But for anybody that sees this back,
so Choupo-Moting's headed it on, and it's if it's hit Muller, it's just brushed his studs. Choupo-Moting, you're absolutely right.
It brushes his hair.
Faint touch.
He misses it.
Well, it looked as though Muller missed it, but deemed to be interfering because he's made a deliberate attempt to play the ball, and he's right in front of the goalkeeper. So, having seen that replay, I think whether he's touched it or not, the decision is the correct one. I sense, Dan, you don't agree with me.
Only on the basis that I've seen so many of those not given. You know, and again, it's this ridiculous inconsistency. We've been told several times in the past, if he doesn't touch it, Marcus Rashford going through for Manchester United. You know, we all remember that decision. You know, I can't remember which way round it was or wasn't given. Whichever.
Yes, it was. Well, yeah, it was given, and the argument was that he just withdrew his foot and hadn't made a deliberate attempt to play the ball, and that's why that one wasn't given. Muller, on this occasion, has made an attempt. He's stretched out a right foot. He's made no contact. He's come really close to it. We thought he had made a contact, but he's clearly played to get a touch on it, and I think that's why the goal has been chalked off.
But he's missed it. I don't know, does it affect the goalkeeper? I guess the only argument would be that the goalkeeper's thinking, well, if he does get a touch, it might come closer to me and not sneak into the far corner. So I'm very, very, very unlucky. Very, very unlucky. Because the other thing is how much of a touch does Choupo-Moting get on it to make him offside? It flicks his hair, I think, more than anything else.
Well, if Choupo-Moting hadn't touched it, then Muller was onside when the original free kick was taken. But it remains 0-0 on the night. 1-0 to Bayern Munich on aggregate. Elsewhere, Hibs 1, Rangers 4. Hibs led in that game, but Tavernier, 2 for Cholak and Fashion Sakala on the score sheet for Rangers. The Rangers look for an 8th straight league win. Celtic 9 points clear of them with a much better goal difference there ahead as well.
In all fairness, Bayern Munich players didn't moan too much about it. It was very, very exciting. I think it's a toss of a coin. It could go either way. They never really complained. They just went, OK, get on with it, no problem.
They're still in the box seat. Now we played 10 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, it might have been different if they were 1-0 down.
Yeah, the crowd weren't happy. Nagelsmann, who is always a manager to wear his heart on his sleeve, was far from happy. Particularly once he'd seen it. Left-hand side of the penalty area, PSG are trying to find a way through. Stanisic has done really well to stop Fabian Ruiz getting into a position to deliver, and then Choupo-Moting goes up for it, and then having won the first one cleanly, has caught Nuno Mendes on the stretch, just on the Achilles. Galtier, the PSG coach, strides out from the edge of the technical area with hands out. He's not happy, and play has been allowed to continue, and Bayern Munich will bring it forward. Choupo-Moting jumping to get on the end of a ball that was played in. He's nodded it down. He's hurt and has put the ball out of play so that he can receive some treatment. Maybe he's limping away. Nuno Mendes certainly needs treatment. He's still down, holding his left ankle after that earlier challenge on it. It's full time in the WSL. Arsenal against Liverpool. Charlotte Richardson.
Full time, Arsenal 2, Liverpool 0. Arsenal's impressive run against Liverpool continues. That's now 9 victories in a row against the Merseyside outfit. On a freezing cold evening, Arsenal did the business required in the first half. Goals from Stina Blackstenius and Caitlin Ford gave the hosts a comfortable cushion, which was professionally protected during the second 45. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 0 is the final score.
And a very late goal as well at Kingsmeadow for Ian Abraham.
Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Consolation for the Seagulls, scored by Danielle Carter on as a substitute, tapping the ball home after good work by her teammate. It's currently Chelsea 3, Brighton 1, a couple of minutes to go.
Cheers Ian. Celtic 2, Hearts 1, Hibs 1, Rangers 4, Livingston 1, Dundee United 1. That's all around the 70-minute mark. The game's in Scotland tonight. Galtier and Nagelsmann, the two coaches, just at it, I think it's fair to say, and telling each other what they thought.
I was going to say, I think Galtier's got a bit of previous as well, hasn't he?
It's pretty fiery. The stakes are high. We're 12 minutes into the second half. And you listen to the Champions League live on Talksport with Till, the card payment provider from NatWest. Out comes goalkeeper Donnarumma. Has to head the ball away. Good play by Batshiabu to allow him to do that. Muller has done well. He's worked it past Nuno Mendes. He's back on his feet after that treatment. Cross comes in from Coman, but headed away from Choupo-Moting before it got to the former Stoke of PSG. The Lick's got it in a deeper position. Back it goes from him to Stanisic. Stanisic, left back or right back, making the third Champions League start of his career tonight. Muller back for Coman. Back for Thomas Muller again, down by the corner flag. Wraps his right foot around it. Choupo-Moting climbing around the penalty spot. Didn't quite get to him. Kimmich will be able to pick up a ball that's been recycled around the edge of the penalty area. Great ball out towards Muller. Right-hand side of the box. In from him. Batshiabu can volley it clear. Good pressure being applied here by Bayern as they look for the lead on the night and a little bit of insurance in terms of the aggregate scoreline. Jan Sommer coming out of his own penalty area, sweeps up as the ball is knocked back to him. Stanisic has it again. Down the right-hand touchline for Coman, who wins the throw. 0-0.
Bayern look the stronger side, in my opinion, if anyone's going to nick on at the moment. I mean, Adrian mentioned it at the top of the show, you know, PSG never quite clicked for them. And at the moment, hardly seen anything from Messi. Very, very little from Mbappe. I know that can change, and it can change in, you know, a split second with the quality that they've got. As we saw that in the World Cup final with Mbappe.
Here's Goretzka, and he's dragged that one wide, although it's taken a deflection on its way through and out for the first corner of the second half. From a Parisian perspective, how do they get the two big hitters in the game anymore?
Where's the creativity, I guess? I mean, they're both outstanding players in their own right, but they're polar opposites in what they want to do in playing in a similar position. One wants to come to feet and, you know, pick the ball up and dribble and play little 1-2s. The other one wants to just use his pace, you know, and run in behind. They need that third player in there, that creative player to play maybe those passes. Just like a Christian Eriksen sort of type player, not another Neymar, you know, that runs at people.
So Bayern Munich with the corner. 4 around the edge of the penalty area, 2 inside the 6-yard box. It's Goretzka that attacks it, but off balance he's headed it high and wide of the top right-hand corner. Let's find out what's been going on the only 4 minutes of the second half at Tottenham with Talksport's Kev Hadjar.
It remains Tottenham 0, Milan 0. Tottenham made a decent start to the second half. Dejan Kulusevski with possession on the right-hand side, cut in on that favoured left foot, whipped in a dangerous ball which was cleared by the knee of Malik Chow. The Spurs crowd urging the home side on, but it's still 0-0.
Sure to tune into the breakfast show tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. on Talksport. Here's Goretzka inside the penalty area. Choupo-Moting side puts it in, and it's chalked off. He takes the celebration. Nagelsmann is furious again as the flag is up for Ratti. He's having a word with the referee, but he's going to stand.
Massive confusion here.
Well, Osato had both hands in the air, the referee, and was waving them as if to say it didn't count.
It did, but
it does.
He put both arms up and sort of crossed them over, saying no goal. I mean, is there a push on Verratti? I think he's saying maybe no foul on Verratti. Is that what he's saying?
Well, Verratti on the edge of the penalty area, been given not a brilliant ball from the youngster Batshiabu, and he turned and tried to deal with it, and the pressure was applied by Goretzka. Goretzka then, in winning it back, knocked it square, and Eric Choupo-Moting side-footed the ball into the bottom left-hand corner. The goal stands, checked by the VAR. Bayern are 1 up on the night, and they are 2 up on aggregate, and PSG's perennial problems in the knockout stage of the Champions League coming back to haunt them again.
Oh, it was Mendes, left back, wasn't it, trying to play out from the first point of that, cut back inside and played it in, and it was Thomas Muller, sharp as you like at the age he is, twilight of his career, pounced on it, forced the initial error, and then Goretzka took it off Verratti. And how unselfish. 8 yards out, goalkeeper in front of him went, no, you're okay, I'll roll it sideways for Choupo-Moting to have an absolute tap-in. Brilliant team play.
Well, now some questions being asked at PSG. How can they respond? Have to score twice in 28 minutes plus stoppage time just to take this to extra time. They have a corner, which is their first of the game. Kylian Mbappe getting involved down the right-hand side of the penalty area. And it's been conceded by Upamecano.
How many times, Jim, have we said that a good team beats a team of individuals? And that's exactly what's happening at the moment.
PSG looking for an immediate response from this corner. Swept in, punched away by Sommer. And then headed further clear by Davis. Coleman is in there, lays it down towards Choupo-Moting, who's fallen over and gets back to his feet but can't retain possession. Messi's got it. Play forward through the midfield by him. Fabian Ruiz to his left-hand side for Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe showing a trick or two, gets to the byline, stands it up, but too much on it for Hakimi. Hakimi will lay it back towards Verratti on the edge of the area. Now Hakimi drives it in, deflected away off Davis, and out of play for another corner.
I think one of the biggest problems that you have, you don't always know what Messi's going to do. He's so brilliant, but he's so individual. You're not sure if he's going to go past somebody, if he's going to pass it, or what. Same with Mbappe. You don't know if he's going to cut inside and shoot, or go down the outside and try and cross it. And I think sometimes their own teammates are having to second-guess them.
Messi's going to take this corner as PSG look for an equaliser. Ball swept in. Sergio Ramos, what a save from Sommer. Diving to his left. That was magnificent. That was as good as a goal line clearance from De Ligt in the first half. Sergio Ramos with a powerful header back across the face of the goalkeeper from whence it had come. And Sommer got a strong left hand to it and flicked it away from the on-rushing PSG players, but past the post.
Good save. But I haven't seen it the second time. It's in and around his body, isn't it? It's a good position for him. If that goes in, you would ask questions of the goalkeeper.
Corner worked short by PSG. Vitinha has it now. The small midfielder with a shock of dark hair. Played out to the Parisian right. Not the best ball back towards Vitinha, who had to sprint to rescue it, got it away from Thomas Muller. He was up against Muller and not against Davis in that situation. He would have come second. Fabian Ruiz. Played back through the midfield here for PSG and Marco Verratti to Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos working into his right for Danilo Pereira. One stop further down the line out to the right wing back Hakimi. To Vitinha. Now Verratti has it again. So I expect that PSG are going to have the lion's share of possession from here on in, because 20 minutes into the second half, Bayern are going to be very happy just to sit back, bodies behind the ball, soak up any pressure that's coming their way, deny PSG opportunities on the counter-attack. But the law of the X has struck again. Kingsley Coman, one-time PSG player, Paris-born, scoring the goal in the first game. Choupo-Moting, former PSG player, scoring the goal that has given Bayern the lead in this second leg. Bayern will be able to bring it forward again here with Goretzka. It's played down towards Kingsley Coman. Coming back through the midfield inside the centre circle to Kimmich. Kimmich controlling it with his first touch, laying it out towards Muller with his second. Davis has it now. And no real zip about Bayern until they get towards the edge of the penalty area. And Musiala's gone down, but he's waved back up both by the referee and by his opponents. Vitinha trying to send one down the line. Hakimi chases after it, and he's going to be able to get there near the edge of the Bayern Munich penalty area. PSG looking for the first of the two goals they need in about 25 minutes of action. Messi trying to roll it into the feet of Mbappe. Mbappe trying to improvise. It comes his way again. Shot in towards the near post, and Sommer can make the save. Let's get full-time details from the other WSL game tonight. Here's Talksport's Ian Abraham.
Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Gura Wrighton with a penalty in the first half of Jess Carter had Chelsea ahead of the break. Kenny added a third in the second half before Danielle Carter's consolation for Brighton. Chelsea a point behind Manchester United at the top. They meet here on Sunday. Chelsea 3, Brighton 1.
Cheers, Ian. Leroy Sané is going to be coming on very shortly for Bayern Munich. Ball laid back for Bashiabu. Fabian Ruiz down the left-hand touchline for Nuno Mendes. And he goes out of play for a throw. Bayern will be able to make the change, so we'll go back to Tottenham. Kev Hatchard.
57th minute, still Spurs 0, Milan 0, and the visitors have made the best chance of the game so far, the increasingly dangerous Brahim Diaz. The ball was played to him after a sharp counter-attack. He went for a shot on the edge of the area. It was blocked, but the ball broke back to him. An excellent play from him to create a shooting opportunity. Fraser Forster with a sprawling save to keep it at 0-0, but Milan are still 1-0 up on aggregate.
Yeah, thank you, Sergio Ramos, sending the ball out of the PSG right. Bayern Munich 1, PSG 0, 2-0. The aggregate score in the Bavarians' favour. And the German champions are going to be knocking the French champions out if it stays this way. Nuno Mendes, though, for PSG. The change saw Sané come on for Choupo-Moting. Choupo-Moting, the man that's done the damage tonight. Not that long after he'd had the ball in the net, and it was controversially disallowed for Muller being in an offside position. But the second one did count, even though it looked as though the referee had waved that one away as well. Bayern 1, PSG 0. Another PSG corner. Swung indeed towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Half cleared. Out only as far as the edge of the penalty area for Messi. He can't get a shot in. And now Bayern will be able to maraud forward, having turned over possession. And they've only got Vitinha to run at. It's a 3-against-2 break here. Leroy Sané back towards Kingsley Coman. A defensive touch. Got it out of his path. Nuno Mendes probably with a goal-saving intervention.
What a wasted opportunity for Bayern Munich. It was 3-on-1 at one stage in that, and they just delayed it a little bit. Got caught in two minds of which way they're going to go, left or right. And in the end, Coman allowed Mendes to get back and get that touch. That would have definitely put it to bed.
Bayern Munich have a corner. Muller's made his way forward towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Zonal marking from PSG. Bayern players making runs late and deep. Goretzka sweeping it in left-footed from the left-hand side of the penalty area. One back by Leroy Sané, the former Manchester City man. Definitely 1-2 out on the touchline will get Bayern going again. Sané turning one way and then the other, and there's won a throw over on that far touchline. Now Alan Brazil's back alongside Rangers legend Ali McCoist tomorrow morning, and Villa's all-time record Premier League goalscorer Gabi Agbonlahor joins the boys from 8. And throughout the show tomorrow morning, they're going to be joined by a whole host of guests, including Greece manager and former Spurs midfielder Gus Poyet. Gus potentially reacting to a Tottenham elimination from the Champions League. We'll find out. They've got work to do with half an hour of the second leg to go. That's Talksport Breakfast from 6 till 10 with Alan Brazil and Ali McCoist tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. If music's more your thing, on the way to work potentially tomorrow morning, listen to Chris Evans. Weekdays from 6:30am, broadcasting legend only on Virgin Radio. And you can tune in on DAB or download the Virgin app. Download the Talksport app. You can seamlessly swipe between Talksport and Talksport 2 over the course of a busy Saturday of action. Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Game Day Live on Talksport. Talksport 2 will bring you Bristol City, Blackpool, and Spurs against Nottingham Forest, and that's just on Saturday. Also on Talksport 2 tomorrow, Arsenal go to Sporting Lisbon, a 5:45 kickoff for that Europa League round of 16 first leg. Champions League round of 16 second legs, Bayern leading 1-0, Spurs 0-0, Bayern 2 up on aggregate, Milan 1 up against Tottenham on aggregate. Here's Kingsley Coman coming back for Kimmich. Kimmich forward towards Jamal Musiala and out towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. It's worked back in. Coman getting it back. Muller trying to flick it back into his path. I think since he was offside, there might have been a handball in there as well from one of the Bayern players. That was certainly how Danilo Pereira saw it, and it's going to be a free kick to PSG.
I think the problem that PSG have two problems really, and I've said this so many times. Ligue 1 is so easy for them. They can play at 75% and win the majority of their games. So when they come up against real good opposition, they're not quite ready. They're not quite at it. You know, it's very, very difficult to suddenly find that extra 25% from somewhere. And equally, in the forward areas, because their front line is so exceptional, in Ligue 1, you can just play off the cuff. You can just say to Messi and Mbappe and Neymar, just go and do what you want. You're going to score goals. It's not a problem. And they do, and they score them regularly. When you start to come up against better opposition that are organised, that are quality defenders, quality midfield players, that know how to play the game, that know how to defend, you need a little bit more than just playing off the cuff. And you look at what Argentina did with Messi during the World Cup. They set the whole team up around him, you know, so he could play, so he could get free. PSG don't do that. They don't give him the same sort of licence.
Nuno Mendes has driven the ball inside the penalty area here, and it goes out of play. Yeah, there's not the same structure about PSG. And just to reiterate that point that you're making, something we talked about earlier, Gaultier under pressure. They're 8 points clear at the top of the league, and the manager's under pressure. And that pressure is really going to intensify if they can't find 2 goals in the next 18 minutes.
Ligue 1 is a given, isn't it, really? If you're manager of PSG, you are expected... You're expected to win Ligue 1. Simple as that. If you don't, it's a disaster. And question, hang on, how did you not manage to win the league with all these players? And that's what it looks like this evening. You know, Mbappe hasn't really been in the game. Messi hasn't really been in the game in any way, shape or form. I know they've had a couple of half chances, but that was really Jan Sommer messing about in the back. They haven't created too much apart from that. And I just feel that Bayern have dominated. Haven't been spectacular, but they've been organised, energetic, hard-working. They've got some very talented players in there. But it's been relatively comfortable, I would say, for Bayern Munich.
Those thoughts of former England World Cup defender Danny Mills here on Talksport. Bayern 1, PSG 0.
Messi's now playing as a CDM, picking the ball up and trying to make things happen from there.
Found Verratti, and Verratti only finds Jan Sommer at the other end of the field. He bowls it out quickly. Bayern will launch it over the top. Kimmich out towards Sane. Flag has stayed down against Leroy Sane, left hand side of the penalty area, twisting and turning and getting a shot in, but firing it wide. Back to Tottenham and Talksport's Kev Hatchard.
64 gone, Spurs 0, Milan 0, but Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has just surged into the penalty area, had a right-footed shot. The angle was against him. Mike Maignan touched the ball rather comfortably over the crossbar, but Spurs have won a corner. Pedro Porro on as a sub, taking it, flicked on, but Milan able to clear. So Spurs trying to apply pressure, but they haven't found the breakthrough yet. It's still 0-0, and Milan 1-0 up on aggregate.
Another change for PSG. Fabian Ruiz off. And on his 17th birthday, Warren Zaire-Emery, who only made his debut for the club back in August, he's PSG's youngest ever starter and goal scorer. And he comes on. So he made his full Champions League debut in the first leg, playing in the heart of midfield, and that's the role that he's taken again today. If you play first team football for PSG at 16, you've obviously got a fair bit about you, and he comes with a huge reputation. So Zaire-Emery on. So you've got 2 17-year-olds on the field now. Here's Leroy Sane towards the edge of the penalty area. Batshiabu sticks his foot in. He's the other 17-year-old, and he just diverted it away from Sane. And Sergio Ramos, who's older than those 2 17-year-olds put together, can bring it away. Down it comes for Nuno Mendes on halfway, but he's run out of room and conceded a throw. PSG have 14 minutes to score 2 goals.
And they don't look like scoring 1 at the moment, do they? You know, they're offering very, very little going forward. Messi's getting deeper and deeper and deeper, trying to get on the ball, trying to play the quarterback role at times.
Third goal for Celtic at home to Hearts. Haksabanovic has scored that. Celtic 3, Hearts 1, Rangers 4 up at Hibs. They're in stoppage time at Livy at 1-1 against Jim Goodwin's Dundee United. It'll be a big point for Dundee United. This their game in hand. It would still leave them 3 points adrift, but they would avoid an 8th defeat in a row, and Livy would avoid a 5th defeat in a row if it stays that way. They're in the last knockings there. Coutinho with a little layoff. Messi was fouled. Free kick given away by Muller. PSG will take it, but it's nearer halfway than the edge of the penalty area.
I think the worry is for other teams in this competition. You've got Sadio Mane coming back on the bench this evening. Sane's come on this evening. Gnabry's on the bench as well. Strength in depth and the quality that Bayern have is exceptional.
Yeah, some squad. And with the injury problems that PSG have had, you can't say the same about them. I mean, there's no comparison between the strengths of the two benches tonight. Here's Vitinha. Vitinha claiming that he was fouled, but the free kick has gone against him as he lunged in, and the Italian referee Ossato has put whistle to mouth and found in Bayern's favour. Kimmich, the player that was fouled. The replay shows that the decision was absolutely correct, and you couldn't quite say Bayern are coasting here, but they're not in any real jeopardy. They lead 1-0 on the night. They lead 2-0 on aggregate, and they deserve to go through.
Well, they're going down the motorway, aren't they, at 70 with a cruise control on.
And it could get better for them yet. Coleman's ball inside the penalty area, and it's bobbled off Sane and away to safety. Well, why didn't he take it further on himself?
I'm not quite sure. It's almost, they're in no particular hurry. They know that they're controlling the game. PSG haven't really caused them any problems, and you're right that they're able to dictate this game. Just seeing Sadio Mane, he's about to come on as well, so not great news for PSG either.
Sadio Mane, who's had his injury problems. He's played 25 games for Bayern since his move from Liverpool. Hasn't started since an injury in early November. Man who won this competition with Liverpool, of course, runner-up last season with them. It's the last game for the club. He'll be on in a moment with 11 minutes to go. Spurs knocking on the door. They've come close just a few moments ago in that game against Milan. We'll be back with details of that chance in a moment. Stanisic, who's had a good night for Bayern, playing it forward, flicked round the corner, but not effectively by Goretzka. Nagelsmann's certainly a head coach out of the Guardiola mould in terms of kicking every ball and letting everybody know when they've made a mistake. More so than Pep, probably, in terms of the latter. Zaire Emery, wearing 33, the young man, worked out towards the right-hand side for Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe finds Hakimi. Verratti back towards halfway again. PSG bringing it forward. Messi laid off to his left for Sergio Ramos. Ramos has got such great heritage in this competition. As part of that all-conquering Real Madrid side of the last decade. Forward, the ball goes towards Verratti. This is easy for Bayern to defend. There's no real pace or tempo. Mbappe trying to provide that now. Gets the ball in and has won a corner. Quick news of that decent Spurs chance from Kev Hadjar.
Yeah, it's still 0-0, moving towards the final 20 minutes. That chance for Tottenham. Pedro Porro has looked lively since coming on as a sub, whipped the ball in from the right, and Harry Kane, around about 10 yards out, went for one of the lowest diving headers you'll ever see, and the ball squirted wide of the target. One wonders whether he could have gone for the ball with his feet, but it's still 0-0. But Rafael Leao racing through now for Milan into the penalty area, and he's blazed the ball over the crossbar, but Milan looking dangerous on the break. Still 0-0.
Vitinha off for PSG before the corner's taken. Hugo Ekitike is the player that has come on, the 20-year-old who scored 4 goals in 5 games around the turn of the year. So he's on. Nuno Mendes is coming off as well. Mane about to come on to replace Musiala. Are they making that change before the corner? They are. So Mane for Musiala is the change is going to be made here for Bayern Munich, Danny.
It's not a bad change, is it?
Not bad.
Comes on to an incredible ovation, obviously. Desperately unlucky to get injured just before the World Cup and missed that. But again, strength in depth, difference between the two squads at the moment.
In comes the PSG corner. And it's headed by Ramos. And only just wide. And he lies flat on his back inside the penalty area and puts his hands to his face. He knows that was a decent chance. It was a great jump. Got above Muller and has headed it 4 inches wide.
Well, apart from when Jan Sommer had that mental block in the first half where he was trying to dribble out and took far too many touches and gave the chance to Vitinha. Apart from that, the 2 best chances, I would say, for PSG have come from Sergio Ramos from corners.
Here's Bernat, who came on for Nuno Mendes. But during those changes, Bernat, the left-back, scored against Leipzig in the Champions League semi-final. Played in 2 Champions League semi-finals for Bayern. More than 100 games for the club. And has played just a few more for PSG than he did in Bavaria. And he's come on for the last few minutes. There are 7 left.
We're talking about, Jim, the two of the best players in the world to play the game in Messi and Mbappe. I don't think we've seen a moment of brilliance from either of them yet.
Still time, but they're leaving it late. They need to score 2 to take this to extra time. Here's Bernat, back for Sergio Ramos. Long right-footed ball fired back out to the left back, who just slipped and did really well to stay on his feet and control the ball as cleanly as he did. It's found Verratti. Verratti really pinged it in with pace towards Zaire Emery, the edge of the penalty area. Bayern can clear it. Ramos back sweeping up.
I think he was fortunate again. That was Thomas Muller chasing him down. If that was Sadio Mane, it might have been a different kettle of fish. He gave him 2 or 3 yards. For someone like Sadio Mane, that wouldn't have been an issue. I think Ramos and Muller is not. It's not the hair in the hair race, is it?
No, it's a good even contest.
Yeah.
Let's say. A fair few miles on the clock between the pair of them. I mentioned earlier, Ramos played game number 769 of his club career. He's got 180 international caps to his name as well. And now there's a coming together between Muller and Sergio Ramos. Ramos helps Muller back to his feet. They look at each other, smile. Both saw it for what it was, and play will restart with PSG. Muller making the 652nd appearance of his Bayern career.
It was a bit pantomime, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They both know exactly what they were doing. They just had a little giggle.
Verratti, Messi, Zaire Emery. What can he conjure? It's a good ball forward. And Hakimi couldn't quite take it in his stride and turn. Upamecano with a touch. And he's then prevented the corner by sliding in and putting it out of play for a throw. 5 to go, and PSG need 2. Verratti back out towards that right-hand side, and Zaire Emery can bring it forward again.
I have to say, sorry to interrupt, Bayern's defending and organisation has been absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, defensively they have been very sound. They've only conceded 2 goals in the Champions League all season.
And people think that's easy because they've got good players, and that takes a lot of hard work on the training ground. The midfield players, Kimmich getting back into position, Goretzka getting back into position to cover other people, making last-ditch tackles, all those types of things. It really does take hard work, and they're doing it right until the end.
Yeah, the 2 goals they conceded were a 4-2 win at Victoria Plzeň when they were 4-0 up after 35 minutes and declared and just switched off. They conceded 2 that night, but they haven't conceded in any other Champions League tie all season. Double change being made by Bayern. Will go back to Tottenham. Kevin Hatchard.
We're into the final quarter of an hour. It remains Spurs 0, Milan 0. Spurs still struggling to really create. They do have a corner now, but it's overhit by Pedro Porro. Milan still trying to pose a threat on the counter-attack with the pace of Rafael Leao, but they're defending fairly comfortably at the moment. Spurs need some inspiration from somewhere. It's still 0-0.
A double change from Bayern. Coman and Muller went off. Gnabry and João Cancelo, the players that have come on to replace them. PSG will bring the ball forward. But they don't get too far. It all broke down very quickly before Ekitike could get the ball under clean control. And it goes through to the goalkeeper, Jan Sommer. And Bayern are nearly there. 3.5 minutes of normal time to go in the Bavarian rain. Stadium lit up by the bright red Bayern-coloured LED lights around the perimeter of the roof. And they're going through to the quarterfinals yet again. This has been a hurdle that PSG have struggled at. It's going to be the 5th time in the last 7 seasons that they've been knocked out in the first of the knockout rounds of the Champions League, which the club with their budget is far from good. There's been a red card at Tottenham, Kev.
And it is Christian Romero who has got it, a second yellow card for coming across to the sideline to try and deal with the danger of Theo Hernandez. He got there late. He was booked in the first half, now sent off in the second. So Spurs chasing a goal that would keep their Champions League dream alive. Well, it's still 0-0, but they're down to 10 men.
Zaire Emery with a really good cross on the left-hand side, and Mbappe attacked it, and Upamecano did brilliantly to deal with his fellow Frenchman and stop him being able to tap the ball into the net. Out it goes again towards the right. Hakimi with a cross, and De Ligt can head that one away.
Just look how narrow, Jim, that back four is. Absolutely sensational. You've got 4 players, the width just outside the goal. Crosses are coming in. They're quite happy to defend that area like that. And again, organisation takes focus, takes concentration, takes effort. I mean, again, there they are again. It's absolutely exceptional. Very, very difficult to try and create anything meaningful.
Zaire Emery coming in off the left flank. He's been sharp since coming on. 90 seconds to go. De Ligt heads it away. Cancelo will clear. Right-footed ball flicked forward from him. He's made 4 starts since his move from Manchester City on loan. He's been taken off in all of them. And the talk is that Bayern are unlikely to activate the £61 million clause that would see him become a permanent player of theirs for next season. Here is Cancelo motoring forward, though, over halfway. Good ball from him into the path of Gnabry to make it safe. Bayern Munich will go through. Serge Gnabry off the bench scores the second. They're 3-0 up on aggregate against the French champions. It's been a solid rather than spectacular victory for Bayern, but this is a real statement of intent. PSG are being dispatched.
Fabulous breakaway goal. Absolutely sensational. Joao Cancelo, great run. And then he picks the right pass. The weight of pass to Gnabry under pressure is exceptional. He's onside. It's tight, but he's onside. And Gnabry's finish, it just sort of lifts it into the far corner, millimetres from the inside of the post. Really clever finish. Knows exactly what he's doing. Doesn't roll it along the floor. Just lifts it enough to get it over Donnarumma's hand to give him absolutely no chance. Great breakaway goal, outstanding finish, and Bayern have controlled this with no urgency from PSG at all. Messi, I have to say, disappointed. Kylian Mbappe, disappointed within this. Not really seen them at all. Bayern, exceptional team performance. No superstars, no outstanding performances. Everybody has been 8 out of 10 for Bayern.
5 minutes of added time. PSG need to score 3. I very much doubt they're going to score even the first of the 3. And what will the effect be on Gaultier's long-term job prospects as a result of this? It's their 11th successive season in the knockout stages, and it's going to end like all the others without them lifting the trophy, the one that they are so desperate to get their hands on. They've never been called kings of Europe, and it's not going to happen this year. And it could get worse for them yet, because Sané's bringing it forward to his left-hand side. He's got an opportunity to play it in. It was Davis with the low shot, and Donnarumma kicks it away at the near post and out of play.
I think if PSG want to win the Champions League, that's what it's all about. They win the league easily, not a problem. If they want to win the Champions League, there's 2 managers, I think, out there that they have to go for. One is Diego Simeone, because I think if you give him the tools for the job defensively, will be so good. The attacking talent that you've got, you can almost just say, you know what, go and do what you need to do. And the other one's Mourinho, because he will build a team for 2 seasons, maybe that, and he will put together one of the greatest teams ever and make them incredibly difficult to beat, and he's a winner. Simple as that. It'll fall apart after 2 years, maybe 3, but there aren't too many other managers out there that I think that can manage the expectation, the ego of the players, all those types of things.
Has he still got that in him? Ball played forward here, just too long for Mane, and out comes Donnarumma. Has he still got that in him? Wonderful CVs, won this competition with worse sides than the one that worse sides than the one that he would have at PSG. But would Mbappe want to play for Mourinho?
It wouldn't necessarily matter, because if you give him enough money, Mourinho will go and get somebody else that will. So you could almost say, right, Mbappe can go for 200 million, whatever it might be. Give me all that money, and I will buy the players in that will make you more effective. Might not be the prettiest football on the planet, might not be the most, the fanciest football ever, but I guarantee you it'll be effective. I guarantee it'll work.
Mourinho for PSG. 03717223344. They're taking your calls on the sports bar tonight. That's one that you might want to talk about. Obviously,
they've tried every other option.
Going to dominate things on the sports bar tonight.
They've tried every other option. So why not? Why would you not? It's either that or Simeone. I think because who else do you get in that is going to make that team so difficult to beat, so hard working, that can perform at the highest level in the big games?
Sané slipping it forward here, and there's number 3. Scored by Sadio Mane, but the flag is up. It remains at 2, but it is completely academic.
Remains at 2, it could have been 5, couldn't it? Let's be realistic. I mean, he's just offside, half a yard. An outstanding finish.
No goal for Mane, but there have been goals for Choupo-Moting and Gnabry. Bayern Munich leading PSG by 2-0.
How many big chances, Jim, have PSG created?
Oh, next to none.
None, I would say. That's two headers from Ramos. One went wide of the post, one went pretty much straight at Sommer, which is a relatively comfortable save. And apart from that, there was obviously the Vitina one where that wasn't to their own doing. That was the keeper making a complete hash of it. That's it. I can't remember any other big chance. I can't remember Sommer having to make a proper save apart from that.
Well, they've had 4 attempts on target in the game, with an XG of only just a shade over 1. 1.25. And so that really, with the attacking weapons in their arsenal, constitutes a hugely disappointing result. And this is a very disappointing result, and the French media will let them know it's been a disappointing result. And
I'll tell you what's brilliant, though, coming right to the end. We've just seen the graphic again of the 3D image, game's over, of the VAR decision. Why do we not have it in the Premier League?
Full-time whistle blows, and it signals the end of another Paris Saint-Germain European campaign. Knocked out in the round of 16 for the 5th time in 7 seasons. For Barcelona and Real Madrid and Manchester United and Real Madrid again. Now, read Bayern Munich. The German champions have dispatched the French champions with ease. And for all the Messi and Mbappe hype that this PSG side has, they haven't scored in either leg. Messi leaves the field disconsolately. A familiar story for him. Desperate to win this competition at least one more time in his career, but it isn't going to be in 2023. Bayern, certainly a team you want to avoid in the draw for the last 8. Impressive, not spectacular, but highly impressive. Bayern 2, PSG 0, and the German champions win 3-0 on aggregate.
Jim, thanks very much. We'll go back to Danny Mills for his thoughts and man of the match very, very shortly. But let's update you on what's happening here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kev Hatchards.
Into the final.